So I made close to $400 on my new Etsy shop in the past 7 days, and it's been open for about a month. And I spent $81 in the past 7 days on advertisement. Now, if we zoom out on the past 30 days, we see that I've ranked up a lot of spending during that time. So if we look over here, but I came quickly down because I did something that I'm going to talk about in this video. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the back end of my advertisement for my top 1% shop as well. So make sure to stick around. Now, the first thing that I did with my Etsy ads to reduce the cost is I had to look at my visit to favor ratio. When you're advertising, you're trying to help people. You need to have a mindset, I want to help people. When you're in the office and you say, hey guys, can I have everybody's attention, right? Advertisement kind of does that. Say, hey, I want everybody's attention. I'm willing to put my money on this moment to tell people something. If you're gonna say, work hard everybody, then it's like, well, it doesn't do anything. But if you're saying, hey guys, there's donuts in the break room, you're helping people. And they're like so glad that you said that, because now everybody's rushing to the conference room or the cafeteria to get the free donuts. When you're advertising, you're saying, hey, this listing is so special, I'm willing to put money on it. But if you're putting money on a listing that is the same as everybody else's, you're going to have a harder time making that money back. So you want to help people. How do we find out if our listing truly does that? Well, visit to favor ratio basically says the people that came to this listing, they were so glad they found it that they favored it. There was an action that followed. So how do we find a visit to favor ratio? We go on the listing. And in the comments, you guys were wondering how to turn this on. Make sure the stat little dealio is on. So if I turn it off, you won't be able to see the information on the bottom. But when you turn it on, it pops all this stuff. Now, you might need to refresh your window. But what happens here is you have 49 visits, 2 favors. Not that great. But when we look over here, we see that 107 visits and 7 favors, right? Now, technically to this ratio, it should have been 4, but it's 7. Now, it's not that much for us to really see the ratio. You want something like this, where it gives you a lot of visits and a lot of favors. And then you want to, based off of that, especially if you have a listing that is profitable and is bringing you money and you are happy with it, look at that ratio. Ratio is always different to each person. I don't want to give you a rule of thumb here, but because every listing is different or every product is different. But look at your best performing listing and look at the favor to visit ratio and say, okay, I want to make sure that every single listing, if it's in the same category of products, that it reaches at least that. And so you want to make sure that you advertise only the ones that match that favor to visit ratio. And when it's too small of a number, like 27 visits and 2 favors, it's not really that much to say. So what you want to do is you want to run ads on all your listings, especially when you're just opening up, and set aside some money and run some ads, get the traffic in there to find out what the traffic is doing with your listings. Do they like your listings? You want to know that information so that you can be helpful for the market. Now, the second thing you want to do is look at the click-through rate. What you want to go is you want to go on marketing, you want to go on Etsy ads, and what you want to do is you want to look at the data of a click-through rate. So if you're going to go and you're going to go manage advertising listings, you're going to look at this information here. So what you want to do is you want to organize based on the click-through rate, and if the click-through rate per visit or per view is a good ratio, that means your listing is doing something to the customer when they initially come across that thumbnail. There's a caveat to this, and I've talked about that in my previous video. My initial run for my advertisement gave me a listing that had a great click-through rate, but it was for the wrong reason, and I had to figure that out. That's why this is a step 2, right? Once you have a good favor ratio, and then you have a good click-through rate, that's going to be your model product. And especially if it's profitable, that's going to be your model product. Now, if you don't have a good click-through rate, see if you can change the first thumbnail. Now, be careful here, because I have had that happen to myself and some people that I know. When they change out photos, the ranking starts to struggle. But if you have a new listing or your new store, this kind of stuff can be very nice for you to be able to start doing. And what happens oftentimes, if your thumbnail is not good, then you're going to miss out on the customers that are ideal for your product, that will convert the best. If they understand what your listing is about when they click on it, because the thumbnail makes sense, they're more likely to buy the product. By the way, when you're running an advertisement on all of them, you do want to run that for about a week or 2. Make sure, like I said, make sure to set aside some money for that, because once 2 weeks go by, just turn them all off, look at this data, and then relaunch your advertisement on only a few listings that match these requirements that we're going through in this video. Because the third one is you want to narrow down. You don't want to advertise all of them. Now you say, Vlad, but I'm going to lose all this traffic if I don't advertise all of them. No, you don't. And I talk about that in my previous video. When I went from 56 listings down to just 4 or 5, my traffic was about the same because I narrowed down all the money that I spent on advertisement on just those, and that brought me more traffic because the algorithm favored them a lot more because there's better click-through rate and visit to favor ratio, and it started to take off a lot more than all of my listings combined. And so you're not going to lose traffic. In fact, your traffic might increase. And so narrow down on only the ones that will perform the best on the market. Remember, we're trying to help our customers, not just be another voice, another noise in their search results. Then spend the next 1 or 2 weeks running that campaign, and then do that again. Run through those steps and find the winning listing and what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong. When you narrow down to maybe 1 or 2 out of say 50, then you have yourself a profitable advertisement. Then if you've done all of those, then if there are some things that you can change in the listing, if you felt that the listing was just too photoshoppy, if that's even a word, or it doesn't have authenticity, then maybe change out, do some photography, make it a little bit more live. Especially if you have those listings that have a decent favor to visit ratio, they have a decent click-through rate, maybe make that listing, invest into that listing because it's clearly doing something, it's performing well. So you want to fluff it up, maybe hire a photographer. It's an investment that you might need to make in order to make those changes so that you can be profitable. If after that you're still not profitable, move on to the next product. That happened to my ornaments, as you guys seen, that I started with just ornaments. And then when I started doing all these things, I said, hey, let me just add another product, a completely different product. And you know what? That's the product that's doing really well. So sometimes you're really working on this product, but keep moving, create new stuff. Don't be stuck on one set of product. You do your best. And if it's not performing the way you'd want it to be, or it's not being profitable when you're running ads, try another product, find another product, because there is going to be a product that you're just going to be profitable with that is more helpful for the customers that are coming to your store than maybe the product that you have here, because the market will determine what you are going to make money on, not you. So let's take a look at my top selling shop. So the past 23 days, I did a little this month, and this is how much I made in revenue daily from ads, and this is my ads. So this is just ads. This is not my overall sales. This is just from ads. Now, I spent about $4,000 this month, and revenue is $10,000. Now, my overall sales is about $30,000. So a really good, profit from my advertisement. And what I did on the 16th right here is I applied the same thing that I talked about in the previous video that I'll include in the link if you guys are interested checking that out. I've went from advertising 80 listings down to like 30, and look at that. How much I spent did not go down, and on the 16th, in fact, it went up on my traffic. So what I did is I screenshot the revenue and I screenshot the spending. Now, the proportionality is not the same, but let's go to Illustrator. The lighter grays, the one I just changed the opacity down, is how much I spent on advertisement. Again, it's not it doesn't correlate to the numbers because it's 200. So don't assume that I'm only breaking even. But what happened on the 16th is I narrowed down on the best performing listings, and there's some listings that were advertising that didn't need to be advertised because there's like St. Patrick's Day is no longer a holiday right now. We're in the Christmas season, so I had to take that out. So once I did that, look at how balanced they became running together. Now there was a little bit of a less sales, ratio to how much I was spending, but after that it went right back up. So and by the way, this is where I ran a sale, and so but you see how choppy it is because I was spending a lot more than I was making, especially right here. I spent a lot of money. Once I done that, guess what? It nice synchronized right there. And again, it's not proportional, so it's not like I'm breaking even, but it's synchronized to where the profit to how much I'm spending did work. Remember, we're trying to help the customers, and that's what the algorithm wants to do. And if you align with the algorithm, you're going to see a much better success on Etsy. It's not about ranking. It's not about trying to rank your listing. And I talk about that in this video, so please check it out because way too many people focus on SEO and not what I talk about in this video.